Hey, Rich.
Hey, Michael.
And welcome, everybody, to BitPunch Radio episode 046. On today's episode, we are going to be discussing, looks like we've got some Hunger of the Gods. I've got some updates on Shadow of the Gods and some other books we've been reading. I've been playing some new releases. We got that Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe with some Rogue Legacy 2, Dorfromantik. I've been having some fun with Dorfromantik. We finished up Norco. We've got our last stream up that I still need to post, actually. Looks like you've been playing some Cyberpunk. We've got some Halo shits to talk about. But before we get started, Rich.
May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you too, buddy. So, I got to spoil something here a little bit.
Oh, okay.
My wife has bought or is about to buy some tickets to a convention, and the only reason I know about it is because when you buy the tickets, it has to be assigned to like your email address. So as she was going to look up all this stuff, she's like, well, shit, I need his information on here. So, about a decade ago, we had tickets to E3, and it was like one of those things that every time I see it in my time hop, the E3 media badge, I'm pretty sure it was I think it was 2012 or 2011.
That's right. Yeah.
I see that E3 media badge. I'm just like, man, I would have loved to have went to that. And, I've been to a couple like conferences for work. It's just not the same thing. So, being into board games, I've got a lot of friends that go to this conference in Indianapolis every year called Gencon. And really big. It's like 70,000 people attend this thing. There's like 3,500 sponsors to this show. And seems like me and you are going to be going. So that's pretty exciting.
That's right.
I'm surprised that you really wanted to go. That shocked me a little bit. Because she did mention there's a show around my birthday, which is in June, in California. And it's like a gaming convention. I don't know. Maybe it's not E3 because E3 has been canceled this year. But
it's VidCon. It's like all about streaming. It's like you go there and you're like networking.
Okay.
Doing a lot of stuff like that. I'm sure there's like some game adjacent stuff there.
That's probably terrible. I don't know about that.
just because I think it's more like it's like the YouTuber show, basically. Yeah. Because I'm sure Twitch is involved and stuff like that.
When she first brought it up, I was like, "Is it PAX? Like, is PAX a thing?"
Yeah. I looked at some PAXs. PAXs have already like passed. There wasn't one like coming up soon enough.
Right.
E3 got canceled, so that was a no-go. The VidCon thing was like if that would be cool to go to it, but it was more like it had all these different packages of like, oh, you're gonna go and like sit through these talks and like learn how to stream better. And I was like, I don't know. We'd probably just have more fun in California than actually that half of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It would be interesting for sure. But then I thought, I don't think he's ever been to Gencon.
No.
And I think it would be interesting and also extremely convenient because we're both like an hour and a half.
It's away. Like a bloop, like meet right in the middle. So
way less like logistical issues to get there. And kind of we both have families, so like leaving for like I would be down to go to California for 4 days, but that would be kind of a logistical endeavor, to try to get there and fucking planes and COVID. Like plane. I don't know if you've traveled on a plane lately, but the likelihood that your flight is going to be canceled is like
ridiculous,
50%, and you're just screwed. I had a buddy that was supposed to go out to Vegas for a wedding, or no, it was San Diego, and just the day before they were just like, nope, this isn't happening. You're not flying to San Diego tomorrow. He was like, oh, I guess I'm not going to that wedding. you know.
It's crazy
So,
because they know what their capacity is. Like, we
mhm.
have 200 seats on this flight, and the system will read 201. And it's just like, yeah, I'll sell you that. I ain't got it, but I'll sell it to you.
Yeah.
Because when I was flying out to Miami, they were at capacity, and because I was flying Southwest, I didn't do early check-in. I checked in when I got there, and I was one of the bottom like 4 or 5 people that checked in, so they bumped me. They ended up giving
Okay.
me $800.
Wow.
And then paid for the rental and paid for my other flight because we flew into Jacksonville and then drove up. And so, like, yeah, they covered everything, and then $800 credit, like for another flight. So it was kind of crazy, but yeah, Gencon will be cool, man. Now we got to play some digital board games.
Yeah, I figured this would be like a good time for me to kind of get into it. This will be you just showing me the
Yep.
way, like like you can show me the world
Yep,
like Aladdin.
I will
You
gladly. There's a
yeah.
humble bundle out there that's got your name on it. So as soon as one of those Asmodee humble bundles come together, I'll get it for you because it'll be like 20 something board games, and then your Steam library will just get stacked.
Great.
So
Perfect.
you want to start, or you want me to go?
You know what? Let me just go. I don't have a ton. I did start playing Cyberpunk again. I'm still having a fun time with that game. I really haven't moved the story much further. I just like dicking around in that game, just kind
And
of
see,
poking around in
I
it.
was hard into just the story.
Yeah, I like just driving around and like looking at the map, and when things pop up, just I'm gonna go do this
Mm-hmm.
thing. I just finished all the gigs for like the police lady. Um,
Mm.
so I'm just kind of driving around to a lot of the fixers and like doing their side gigs and stuff like that, and that game's just fun. Uh,
Oh, it is.
it's a cool little sandbox. It's got cool weapons, cool abilities. Um, it and it's got just enough jank to
Yeah.
keep you on your toes.
And it's just challenging enough. Like, there's
Mhm.
multiple missions I've died at and had to restart over, but
Oh yeah,
but I was like, you know what? I fucked up there. Like, I was way too hard, or I wasn't paying attention. I was just trying to gun my way through where my build is going more with like the, whatever they're called, um, oh gosh, the
Netrunner.
hacking. Yeah. Like
The
the
hacking,
hacking
yeah.
stuff. So,
Yeah, I'm full hacking.
yeah.
Yeah, I have like 30 RAM slots. It's so overpowered, but it's so hilarious.
See,
Um,
I don't have that many RAM slots.
you got to go buy a new cyber deck. Yeah,
Maybe that's what
yeah.
I'm
Once
lacking.
once you get farther into this, well, you're far enough in the
Yeah,
story.
I'm
You
far
can
into the
upgrade all that
story.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can upgrade all
I
that
just
stuff.
haven't
Yeah,
engaged with it enough, so
yeah. It doesn't. Some of that stuff gets confusing in the menus. The menus aren't great.
no.
Like a lot of the times when you need to go to the like find shards, they're like buried in this menu, and every time I have to do it,
And
I
I
have
don't
to
like the
Google.
upgrade tree. I don't know. I get a little confused. It
It's
seems
confusing too.
it
It's got 3 layers.
right. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
And I don't know, because I'll start working on one and then I'm like, but shit, there's stuff that kind of works with this over on this whole other screen.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know. Like, it works, but I will get back to that game. I've just been poking at a bunch of other stuff, but it's still installed. And I maybe have 10 hours left and I would finish that game. I just need to sit down and do it.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm still enjoying it. I'm gonna keep playing it. There's nothing else um, really that I feel like I want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Um, let's see here. I've been reading Hunger of the Gods or The Hunger of the Gods. I don't know if there's a the there. I think there is.
Mm-hmm.
It's the second book in the Bloodsworn trilogy from John Gwynn that just released last month in April.
Mm-hmm.
Was really high on Shadow of the Gods, as everybody that listens to this knows.
Mm-hmm.
Hunger of the Gods is really good.
Mm.
It Shadow of the Gods kind of ends pretty cray cray,
I'm
and
like
it just
90
kind of,
something percent into this book.
oh man, yeah. I mean,
I'm pretty sure
hunger just
Orca, or I think I'm done with Orca. And I think I'm
okay,
done with Elvar, or however you say her name.
okay.
I'm pretty sure.
You might be.
Because I'm on Varg right now.
Tell me, okay, yeah. I can't talk about anything in Hunger of the Gods, okay? Because anything I say
Yeah.
is gonna spoil what you're reading now.
Right.
So you tell me how is Shadow of the Gods going here?
It's good. I mean, I could nitpick that book. Um it's not the easiest thing to read.
No, it really
Um
isn't. Yeah, the audio version really helps you with the pronunciations. The
mhm.
pronunciations is rough. And now that I know how to pronounce all that stuff, it's much easier. So
Yeah.
if you've not read these books, the author John Gwynn really leans hard into like this Viking, uh, the naming and the
Mhm.
symbology, and there's a lot of like the little O's with the little squiggly line on top, which is like a th sound.
Mhm.
So it'll be like uh, Oscotreth or
Yes.
Guthvar
Yep.
or like all the Sether Witch. You know, it's spelled
Mhm.
Seoir or something like that, but it's pronounced Sether. Like a lot of that stuff from the audio version helped me read it a lot more. And now I don't have any problem like reading it and like
Mm.
understanding what they're freaking talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm on the last chapter. um
Okay, what's happening now?
well, spoilers. I don't know what's happening with Varg like in this chapter. He's kind of on his arc. Elvar, is that how you say her name?
Elvar, yeah.
She just released a dragon.
Not her.
Well, not her.
Yeah,
How do you?
Ilska. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Ilska, Raven
Um,
feeders. Yeah,
and it was just funny because the whole scene, she's just sitting there, like from her perspective, she's just sitting there watching like all this chaos happen, and then
yeah.
it
That.
just flies away. Like it,
Yeah,
like says some shit,
yeah.
and it just bolts. It's like it's gone.
Likrifa is the
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
the dragon god.
Yeah.
So I felt like that chapter where that happens was like just perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like that whole book is kind of leading up to because this book kind of takes place like 300 years after all these gods like battled and
And
like almost
died.
destroyed the
Yeah.
world, and then they all died. You know, they were all siblings. There's the wolf god, uh, the dragon god, the serpent who's their father,
Mm-hmm.
the eagle who's one of the kids too, and they all battle and die, and then humans kind of take over in the world now, and like the present that this of when the book takes place, there are the gods are kind of hated because they did all this bad shit, and it's just talked about throughout the book, and then all of a sudden in this one chapter they release a fucking dragon, and everybody's just staring at this thing like, what
Yeah.
in the shit? Like it would be like if a fucking dragon landed on a Walmart around here,
Right.
it'd be like, what the
And it
hell,
just says some god shit and flies
Yep.
off.
Yep. It's just like, oh, this whole thing changed,
Yep.
and I felt like that was a really cool kind of way to the book's not over, but there's still some stuff to happen, in the rest of the book, but it's setting up the next book,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, whoa, this from where this book started to kind of where it ended now. It's like, man, like, and the good thing is Hunger takes all that stuff and does a lot of really cool shit with it. Um, it doesn't just, oh well, there's just a dragon now. Like there's a lot
Right.
of stuff that's kind of linking back together, maybe in a little bit of a predictable way.
Mm.
The Shadow of the Gods is told from three different perspectives, and I think as you kind of read it, you start to understand. Okay, these three people are kind of on a they're
Yeah.
kind of on a headlong
Right.
path toward each other here, right? Like somewhat predictable in fantasy writing. But the way they're intertwined, you find out a little bit at the end of this book, and then it really starts ramping that up in Hunger of the Gods. Hunger of the Gods is actually from 5 perspectives. So
God.
it's
I'm
yeah.
actually
So
not liking that part of Shadow of the Gods because
really,
you only are getting like 160 pages of story. It's just broken up, with it's like 3 different stories that's kind of coming together in a
yeah,
sense. So, and I thought Elvar's story was really slow. It
yeah.
wasn't until,
Hers was my least favorite,
yeah,
for sure. But hers is really important because of what happens during
yes,
that part when
right.
Bjor betrays her
Mm-hmm.
in the Battlegram, and come to find out he's actually a Raven feeder. He fucking kills Agnar, shoves a fucking sword through his mouth, like in
Mm-hmm.
a really cowardly ass way.
Oh, yeah.
And then, oh wait, now there's a fucking dragon. The dragon's
God, the
back.
brutality of
Mm.
describing like Orca's fights
Yeah,
and the shit happening to Varg and that whole scene that you're just talking about right there with Agnes or Agnar or however
yep,
yeah,
Agnar, yep,
it's that shit it's rough. Like what a
yeah,
shit
yeah.
world.
Varg's a really cool character. Orca's a really cool character. Elvar is definitely my least favorite character.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah,
Orca's my favorite. I
yeah,
just love her. I love the two brothers that she's with.
yep,
I I don't know how like how this world works, um, because some shit happened. So we're full blown spoilers here for this book. So I'll
yeah,
make sure
yeah, no,
I'll
yeah,
make
yeah,
sure
yeah,
when I put the podcast up, I put the description to say, like, hey, we just spoiled the fuck out of this. Um, their story ends. She's got berserker in her or something because she was bound at the wrists and she just fucking is how it describes her teeth turns into like sharp. They turn sharp and she just bites through her binds. And this is after the frost uh spiders
yep,
and Leaf gets bit and he's dying. They get him away because they kind of get rescued
yep.
by these people. Not rescued, but they get like captured by these people to get him out of
Yeah,
there.
Skulk. Yeah,
Yeah.
Skulk, who is a Galderman. He's like a magic user.
Yeah. And then so she's bound and she just flips her shit like she always does
Yeah.
and just starts murdering again. Um and I feel like Mord, something happened with Mord. He died. He got stabbed.
Yes,
I,
Guthvar killed Mord
yes.
in the tower, at the Grimholt. Yeah,
So, uh, it's cool. It's not cool because that sucks, but it's cool that they're introducing these characters and they're kind of, you're getting attached to like that little trio of
trio.
people.
Yeah, it's very Game of Thrones.
And
Yeah,
yeah, people are going to fucking die.
yeah,
Like people that you're attached to, that you
yeah.
love seeing their little banter. No, they're going to fucking die. Um, I really want to
The
read Hunger of the Gods.
yeah,
I 5 perspectives, that's a little rough. Not that I'm having a hard time with it, like, but
yeah,
there's a lot of characters in this book. I mean, like Varg is running around with a whole tribe of people, and they're great. Like I love the
they are. They're
Bloodsworn.
great.
They're
Yeah,
just
yeah,
a
yeah.
cool little bandit of
Yeah,
people.
Spick, and Rakia,
Yeah,
and
the half troll.
Glonir, half Einer. Yeah, Einer. Yeah, or Ina. He's good. It I will say it doesn't. Hunger doesn't really introduce many new people.
Okay,
It does, but you've kind of got this group of like 5, 6 real main characters, and
sure.
then like these 10 or 15 to the side that you're all sort of familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
But your questions that you have about Orca and what's going on with Varg, that's going to be answered.
Okay.
So
Yeah, Orca is my
yeah,
favorite. I think Varg is right there in the middle, just because I love his arc that he's going through. Like, just some of the stuff he's going through. Like he's trying to find the killer of his sister, right? Um,
yes, yes, that's
and
kind of his blood oath.
yeah, but then I don't know. Like I said, I'm being nitpicky. I've really enjoyed it, and I will pick up Hunger of the Gods and read it. I've just got some other books I gotta get through first. Um, what else you up to?
Man, that's about it. Um,
Any more Halo?
no, I'm one episode behind.
Okay.
I need to get caught up. Um, I've been liking that show, and I saw like the day last Thursday, when that episode released, I saw Polygon had a story, and they're like, "Hey, they made Halo good." So I think this next episode that I'm going to watch, episode 6, I think it is, must be
Mm.
better than what they had been. I don't know. Um, so we'll see.
So
Are you
my
caught up on the Halos?
no, and I won't be until next weekend. So my wife is she has a Girl Scout retreat, so it's gonna be me and my son for the entire weekend. Now
Okay.
we already know my son cannot watch
Yep.
this show, but
No buts.
my neighbor, um, his wife is also in Girl Scouts. They're going on the same trip, so we're kind of
Perfect.
talking, and we're just, and he's a big Halo fan, so we're kind of talking. He's just like, let's get pizza, let's get some beer,
Oh
entertain
yeah.
Max until he goes to bed. Let's
Yep.
see a little Chief Butt,
Yep.
and then
Perfect.
Saturday night we'll do the same thing. Little bit
Yeah.
more Chief Butt, and then we'll be caught up. So
Sweet.
I do have to resubscribe to Paramount because Ashley was just like, I don't think you're watching this. I'm just gonna unsubscribe. I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, that's probably the right call. I'll subscribe whenever I want to watch that. But nothing else.
Nope. Go.
Let's talk about some books. Um, I have finished Cytonic. I am halfway through Evershore. I started Oathbringer. I'm reading a book called The Kaiju Preservation Society.
That's John Scalzi.
That is John Scalzi. I
Okay.
like John Scalzi. I've read probably 8 of his books. He's most known for this book called The Old Man's War,
Yep.
um, which is about, I don't even want to get into it. It's the first book is really good, and then I think it's like 6 books in the series. The first book it's not standalone because it ends in kind of a cliffhanger, but you can read it and just be happy with it. I've heard those
Yeah.
other ones in the series they're just okay. So I don't know. But like I've read Red Shirts. He's got a trilogy that he just wrapped up last year. I haven't read the 3rd book of that, but it's about space travel and stuff. He writes a lot of science fiction books,
Right.
and
Yeah.
he has a book called Red Shirts because of Star Trek.
Star Trek.
So,
Yep.
he has a humor to his books. And this the Kaiju Preservation Society, I'm only reading it because it was available. Like I put a hold on it for the library, and it was on hold for 12 weeks. So it came in and I hit the button. I was like, get it. His
Yep.
books are around like 300 pages. You can get through them super
Perfect.
fast.
Yep.
I swear I've read it for 2 hours and I'm like 35% into it. It's ridiculous. It's about a world. It's like a wormhole that you can go into, and it's an alternate reality where kaiju are real. I think about you a lot when I'm reading it, by the way.
Yeah. Good.
Um, Finished Cytonic. I'm maybe 3-4 hours. I'm listening to the audiobook of Evershore. I'm liking Evershore. Man, it's dragging though. A lot of politics talk. Um, I'm
See, I never really felt like those books dragged. I think I like the like world building that it's like adding to
I
the whole
I
thing.
I do, and
Yeah.
I love the narrator. She does a really good job. Who's that? Who's that? That asshole that keeps wanting to um like send their best warrior to fight Jorgen.
Oh man, I
I
can't
can't.
remember his name.
Goro, is that his name? Goro.
Goro, yeah, Goro, yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
god, just the way that she talks as Goro, it's just so
Yeah,
bombastic.
yeah.
I love it.
The Kitsen are fucking awesome. The
Oh
Kitsen are
yeah,
the best alien race in that fucking in that whole
it
thing.
reminds me of the little things from Star Wars.
Yeah.
I want to say Pogs, but they're not.
No, 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 no,
I can't
no.
remember what they're called.
Ewoks. Ewoks.
Not Ewoks. So I'm talking about from the new trilogy. They just remind me of those little creatures. It was in the Rise of Skywalker trailer.
I can't
Anyway,
remember.
Evershore is great, and you made a comment I think on our last episode is I don't know how you can read Cytonic and then read whatever the next book is going to be without reading these. These novellas are fucking important.
No
Like
shit.
stuff is happening that's
Yes.
like if you
Yeah.
didn't read it, like Cytonic would make sense. Like Jorgen is throwing fucking okay. I'll make sure I put spoilers alerts on all this.
Yep.
He's just throwing mind shards now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like
he's a Cytonic.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, gosh, this is you have to read that. Like you have to know.
No, yeah, like all three of those novellas, so much happens in there.
Yeah.
And like you would know that it happened if you read the books, like the three main books, but you wouldn't know how. Like
Mhm.
it doesn't go into like full detail. Like there's a very specific thing that happens at the very end of Cytonic that you're just like, wait, what? And Evershore basically explains all of that.
Right.
The epilogue of Cytonic drops like a big bomb of this thing that has happened, and Evershore explains that whole how it got there.
Yeah,
because Cytonic doesn't. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I just love that world. I love those books. They're not, they're young adult. Not that
Yeah.
that's bad. It's probably not winning like any kind of award or anything, but they're just really good. I like them.
It would be fun to see like a good like cartoon of those.
Mm-hmm.
Like a good budget of those.
The whole time I was reading Mistborn, I was like, God, this would make a fucking awesome video game.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking the same thing about Hunger of the Gods and Shadow of the Gods. Like, man, if they had a fucking video game,
Dude, it's basically Skyrim. It's Hunger of the Gods and Shadow of the Gods is just a bunch of good side quests in Skyrim.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But if it had the brutality of
Yes.
Shadow, that's what you're missing.
Yeah.
Like there's something, I don't know. It needs like that God of War combat with the openness of Skyrim and like the just the I don't know. I'm reading a lot of good shit lately. Man, I started Oathbringer just because I was waiting on some stuff to come in from Libby. And I bought the book and then I bought the audio book, and I think you've torn me on that now. I think I'm going to always do that. I'm going to go ahead and get both.
Sucks. I know. Money. Yeah.
But I just forgot how good Michael Kramer and the lady that reads those books, they do such a good job. So I was like mowing the grass, and I like drive into a doctor's appointment just listening to this, and I was
okay, this real talk. What's your setup? What's the
I don't have a
setup?
I don't have a good setup. Like I used to wear these, but I just have like $50 wireless buds.
Yeah, I want to get something that goes like over my ears that can like drown out the mower noise. This is a real suburban problem.
Do you want me to even turn it up a little bit more? I just bought a battery mower.
Dude, let's go to my internet history. I was working with electric mowers literally yesterday.
I bought a Ryobi electric mower.
Yep, I was looking at that one, the Milwaukee one. There's another one. Yeah, Tesla guy wants an electric mower. Look at that.
Yep.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. Cause like, man, should I buy some like over the ear, like crazy headphones, like air traffic control motherfuckers that all my neighbors use?
Mm-hmm.
Or should I just buy a quieter mower?
Yeah, it's got a little
And
antenna where you can jack into their printer and
yeah,
shit.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. There's just some cyberpunk motherfucker over in the bushes, like hacking that thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um. Yeah,
No,
but
it's doing the audio thing is the only way I can get through books quickly
mhm.
because I can
I
get
don't
like
have a commute though, so I fit
this
it
is
in.
true.
I
This is
like
true.
if I go outside for a walk, which is rare.
Yep.
Um, if I'm
I mean,
like,
I do like all of our cooking. And so like when I'm cook like the hour that I spend cooking dinner or, breakfast or whatever, like the I've got those bone conducting headphones that I wear when I
mm,
ride my bike. I put those on and like I can still hear my kids and stuff, but I put those on. That's when I listen to books. Like when
that's not
I'm
distracting. Like you do.
nope.
See, I must have ADHD or something because I have such a hard time. If I hear like I should wear these all the time and just it's got a little button where like if you flip that button, it's like it just sucks the noise right out of it.
Okay.
I should do that, but
Yeah, I think from working in an office like in a cubicle when I was young, that's what we used to do. So
mm-hmm.
we had audiobooks on CDs. We'd put them in our
Yep.
work computer, hit play, sit down and just draw and draft and do our stuff while we listened to books. And so now I can listen to a book and do anything. Just about.
I
Yeah.
can't.
Cook, clean, fold laundry, like
See, if I'm
stuff
doing
around the house.
chores, like mindless chores, I'm listening to a book or a podcast. But really, I've been
Yeah.
gravitating more towards books. I've been
Same.
unsubscribing from podcasts that I've been a subscriber to for like a decade.
I haven't listened to a Giant Bombcast
I
three
unsubscribed.
3 or 4 months, and I've probably listened to every single one of those for
Oh my god, yeah. I was
7, 8 years.
easily. Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
was there not day 1, but I was there at least by but way before like episode 50. Like I was
Yeah.
there episode 50. And now they're on like 700 and something.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
you do 50 52 a year. Yeah. It's almost 10 years of my life. And just the direction of my life and the direction they've taken that, I'm just like, I'm good. Like,
Yep. Yep.
so it's weird. I'd rather listen
It
to
is.
books.
I don't even watch Quick Looks anymore. I used to watch their content every week. I don't have premium anymore either.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just I just don't watch it anymore.
Yeah. No. But dude, Oathbringer, holy shit. I cannot wait until you start the
That's
Way
my
of
next
Kings.
that's my next big decision. I've got to decide once I finish Hunger of the Gods here in about a week. Um I've got to decide if I'm going to go back and try to burn through the 2 Mistborn books that I have left to get through like the first part of the trilogy, or if I'm going to go and read Way of Kings. I want to do it this year. That's a big book. That's probably going to take a while. Um, maybe that's what I'll do.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I'll do.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. TV, we covered Halo. Finished Severance. That show. It's on Apple TV. That's I talked about it last episode. That show ended on such a awesome cliffhanger that it's going to kill me until I know what the answer is. Because it went bananas. Like it was a slow start, but man, that show really took off.
Is that the first season of that show?
Yep.
Okay. Isn't Ozark finishing up? There's like there's stuff finishing up, like Moon Knight finished and Ozark finished. And
Yeah. We haven't got back to Moon Knight. We're watching Barry, but that's just like 30 minutes a week. And I'm honestly not liking this season of it as much. What else Made for Love. Made for Love came back, which is one of those, how like HBO Max, HBO has always been weird because they have things like Game of Thrones that's $100 million, and then they'll give like like Bob Odenkirk and David Cross like, here's some money, go make Mr. Show with Bob and Dave. So it's like you've got these huge spectrums, but like HBO Max does a really good job where they've got like these little indie comedies, but then they've got like their big budget stuff. Like Peacemaker probably wasn't a big budget thing, but you get what I'm saying.
Right.
So they're like the last year when they were releasing those things, like season 2s are starting to come out. So we're watching that one, which it's okay. But yeah, Severance was the big thing that we finished up. So now I think we're gonna either pivot and watch Moon Knight or find something else. I don't know. There's a ton of movies I would like to watch. But I don't know why it's like hard to find time to sit and watch like a 2.5 hour movie. But then I'll watch like an episode or two of an hour-long TV show.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the sense of accomplishment or what. It's just a weird thing.
Yeah.
And then okay, so I got some video games to talk about.
Yep.
We finished Norco.
Boy.
Man, I just felt like that was a wet fart of an ending. And that's what sucks. Because I think that game still holds up really well. And I think if you are a fan of narrative-driven, point-and-click adventure, like very light on the puzzle, very light on the actual clicky-clacky of mechanics, there's enough fun there. So we ended the stream, and I don't want to spoil everything we talk about tonight. I don't want to get into like what exactly happened, but I think we were both kind of like, that kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And then we spent some time on the stream. You did like going over the other ones, and they're all kind of like, they were just okay.
Yeah. So there's multiple endings, and that's kind of
Yes.
what we were going through. Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I was like, even his website, like we built up all of this, like what's he gonna call his website? Because
It didn't deliver,
and it just didn't.
deliver.
I don't know. They're kind of like, again, that's probably getting a little nitpicky. I think that game is great. It told a really interesting story. I just think the delivery wasn't quite there. I'd give that 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
3 out of 5, I'd say. Okay, I know I said I wouldn't spoil things.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any interest in playing Kirby?
No.
Not at all.
I mean, I don't care enough I don't know anything about Kirby.
Okay. I want to talk.
He eats people.
I want to talk about the ending of this game.
Okay.
So I played 3 worlds of it, and my son finished the game, but he needed help there towards the end, and I was just like, I want to play this game, and I feel like if I beat the game with you, I'm never going to go back to it. Spoiler alerts, that's what's going to happen. I won't ever play that game. Yeah. But the ending was crazy. So you fight, you go into this arena and you do like this light, like think of the easiest fight that you fought in Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Make it even easier, and that's the hardest boss fight you're going to fight here. There's still like some timing mechanics you got to figure out and stuff. But dude, some shit happens, okay? It's nuts. And it's got like a boss, and then the boss reveals himself, and then the big boss reveals himself. So then when the big boss reveals himself, Kirby in this game has mouthful mode, and he just sucks everything up, and then he turns into the objects, and you can interact with it.
Right.
So during the ending of Kirby, the whole world is going fucking nuts, right?
Uh-oh. I already see where this is going.
Kirby, no, you don't.
No. I think I do. Okay.
Kirby sucks up a semi-truck.
Okay.
Maybe you do know where this is going. The world is crumbling. Rich, it turns into the ending of Halo 3.
Okay.
You are driving this semi-truck across like going up this huge slope, and the world is breaking. There's like asteroids and shit that's coming and destroying the world. So you're like having to like dodge and weave.
Is it like a Kirby truck? Does it have like his eyes and shit?
Oh,
Like, does it
Kirby
look
is like he has his mouth over the entirety of this fucking semi Mac truck. And yeah, he's just cruising along. My son and I, we are laughing our asses off at this because it is so absurd. My son is just blown away at just the ridiculousness of it. Then you finally make it, like because you're driving towards the boss. Then you finally make it to the boss, and it turns into this quick time event, which he doesn't really have experience with quick time events, you know?
right?
And like, standard quick time events would be like hit like X, Y, A.
Yep.
But this one, it's like hit like XXX, and then you got to jiggle the shit out of the stick. Yeah. It's like a Dragon Ball Z fight at this point, because you're throwing fucking like energy beams at each other, and then you've got this quick time event. And I look over at him because I'm just this character that all I can do is throw these staffs. I ain't doing shit for him, and he is just the beauty in his face, everything that was going on. He looked so happy. I was like, this is fucking awesome. I'm having such a good time. This is great. Again, will never play that game again. But that moment of watching him finish, like that was his second game he's finished, on mostly on his own. But it was so good. It was perfect.
That's awesome.
Okay, so that was Kirby. That was my time with Kirby. That's the only thing I've done in the past 2 weeks with Kirby. I picked up the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Have you played the original?
No.
So the Stanley Parable, I don't want to get into very much specifics just because it is new. It is a remake of the game that came out several years ago, but it's just like they added on a bunch of new content. But I don't know what that new content is. But they ask you up front. They're just like, hey, are you new? And like, yes. Well, the whole game is like fucking with you. Each time you launch the game, it's just like, what time is it? And so you like look at your clock and you set the clock, shut the game down. Next time you open it, it's like, hey, what time is it? Like, okay, it's this time. And then he's just like, so is this true? You're like, yes. So then the third time, he's like, hey, what time is it? I don't care what time it is. Tell me what your favorite time is. I'm like, okay. So then, I just like put something in stupid. He goes, is that the real time? And it was the real time. It was like, it's a mind fuck what this game is.
Yeah.
So you play Stanley, and there is, it looks like it's made in, I think it said it was made in Unity, but it really looks like what's Half-Life? What's that made in?
Force.
Yeah, it looks like it's made in that.
Yeah.
So you wake up in an office, and there's a narrator, and he's just like, hey, you wake up from your desk, go down this hallway. So you're just kind of following his instructions. And then you get to a point where it's like, okay, now Stanley comes to two open doors. Stanley goes to the door on the left. If you follow the instructions, you'll beat the game in minutes. Like, you follow his instructions to a T, you beat the game. It's only when you start fucking with him, it's funny, because he'll be like, Stanley's not listening right now. Stanley needs to turn around and go back. You keep running, and he like. The game just like really fucks with you, and that's what the cool thing is like you want to keep playing like these different scenarios, because the dialogue that they've written is really good, and it's funny, and you just start having like all these weird crazy things happening to the world, and it's interesting. So I beat the game twice, but I'm gonna go back for another couple runs, because there's a couple things that happen that I didn't know it was triggering an ending. And it's like, oh, if I didn't know that, I want to go this other route. So it's like you'll kind of do the same thing, almost like almost like, what's the game we played last year that we really enjoyed? Um, oh shit, Rich, the Roman game. Uh,
Oh, that game.
mm,
Um, all right, I'm gonna open Steam. My face is gonna be Steam for 2
it
seconds.
was
Let's see.
Forgotten
It's gonna
City.
ask Forgotten City.
Yeah.
Yes,
So it's kind of like
yes,
it's
Forgotten.
kind of like that where you go on a run and then it's like, well, I'm gonna do this on this run. It's cool. It's lighthearted. It's like $7 or something. Super cheap. Really cool. Um, I picked back up on Rogue Legacy 2. They hit 1.0. That game was in early access for almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I picked that up when it hit early access and instantly could tell, like, all right, this is. They're like, we've got the first world, and like, don't go beyond this door, and the skill tree was still being like you're working on a castle, which I think is what you did in the first game too. Um, so I really haven't touched it. I installed it a couple times and like would do one run and then like I just want to wait 1.0. So I load the game up and it's like, hey, we reset your skill tree. We'll leave you at your level, but my castle was gone. So I
Mm.
had to go through and kind of reassign things, which wasn't a big deal. But I've come across like, so we did a stream of this last year, I think. Maybe, yeah, it had to have been last year when we were first started streaming. Maybe it's 2 years
Yeah.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember. Anyway, but the there's a lot of interesting classes. So you have like a spearman, you have an archer, you have the swordsman, but then they start like unlocking these weird classes. So like the chef's class is one that that people are starting to gravitate towards, just because some of the
Mm-hmm.
mechanics you can do with it. That game is great. It looks really good. It's a roguelite. Um, I would say if you've never played one, you could start with two. There's no like lore in between them. But it's run based where you are exploring this castle, and if you die, then your heir, your son or daughter, takes over. But they have traits. They could be a swordsman, they could be a chef, they could be something along those lines. But then they're gonna have like specific traits about them, like your health is 50%. You may gain more loot, but you also might have something wrong with you.
Right.
And the thing wrong with you could be like you're nearsighted. So there's you only see like a little bubble around you, or maybe you can't jump, or maybe and they're not always bad, so it's not like every run you're going to be handicapped in a certain way, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
every now and then it's going to be like I'm still making progress, but sure, I'll be nearsighted. I'll just see how far I can make it on this run. But it does a good job where I have a hard time with some of those roguelites that your progress doesn't carry over, but you get so much gold and you're just like ticking another little box on your castle of your skill tree that it just makes you feel like you're always getting a little better. Um, I did a run. I just had like probably 6 or 7 runs where I was getting like 400 or 500 gold, and then I hit, and then it started clicking with me because there's so many different ways to kind of like play with the mechanics of the game. Like throwing a right trigger, you'll zoom across the map. If you hit jump correctly, you'll actually like you do take knockback damage, but if you hit the jump button at the correct time, you can start projecting forward and get like a little bonus, and you'll be invincible for like just a little bit. Um, really cool game. It's so much polish. It's so much better than it was in early access. Excuse me. I'm gonna stick with this game. I've been doing a couple runs a day. It's really fun. Um, the last thing I have on here is an indie game called Romantic. You know anything about this game?
No, nothing.
If you had to guess what Dorfromantik is,
it sounds like a bad teen, like Disney sitcom.
Mm-hmm. All right. So Dorfromantik is a tile-based game.
Okay.
So what happens is you it's hex-based. So, you know, there's 6 sides. And there is you start with a blank canvas. There's one in the middle, and then you get a tile. There's a stack of tiles, and each tile has different landmarks on it. So it could,
wow, this is not at all what I thought this would be.
yeah.
Wow.
So
okay,
this could be a rich matinee game. Like maybe we should stream this one night so you can take a look at it.
Yeah.
So like a tile could have like a plane on one side and some trees on it. So then you'll plop that down. You just start plopping this stuff down, but then you'll get like a little mission where it's like, hey, why don't you try to connect 50 trees together?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, so then as you're going through your tile set, you're starting to group your trees together. You start grouping your houses together. Some of them will have water on them. So then you'll try to start like making streams. But then there'll be a tile that's got like water on it and some houses on one side of it. So it's like, okay, maybe I can finagle this, and you can spin it and you're just plopping it down and you're just building out this grid set. It's super relaxing. It's just one of those games that I'll put on like during a lunch break or something and play it for like 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can finish a world in 20 or 30 minutes. I'm not that great, but it's not demanding. It's not asking you to be great. It's giving you like a bunch of like targets to hit, where it's like try to score 5,000 points for your next like 5 games or something, which I've been scoring around like 7 or 8,000 like per run. So, but then it'll be like, hey, why don't you try to make a river that's like 60 tiles long? And it's like, but not every tile you get has water on it. So then you're just like trying to strategically place this stuff. But then you start with 60, and then as you're going through these missions of like, okay, you can complete, you've set like 300 trees together, which was a little mission on your thing. We'll add like 5 or 6 tiles to it.
Okay.
But then it could be like, well, if you don't complete missions, like we've set that you need to connect 50 houses together, but you've boxed them in where you can't add to it anymore, and we're going to actually start taking tiles. Then they'll throw a little ratchet in it where it's normally like you can do 50 plus houses. So it could be like 51 houses or 52, but then sometimes it'll be like only put 7 houses together.
Yeah.
So then it's like, go ahead.
No, keep going.
So then it's like you have to be conservative with how you're placing the stuff together, because some titles might only have like 1 house. Then you're spinning it just to make sure it gets connected in the right spot. It's weird. It's not a game that I thought that I would play a lot of, but there's a board game that I play with my family, and it's called King Domino, and it reminds me of that a lot.
Okay.
Where you're trying to connect certain land masses together.
Is this a Steam Deck game?
I only play with my mouse.
But is this like one of the like, is this a selling point for like a Steam Deck? Is this like one of those games that you'd like, if you had a Steam Deck, you'd pick it up and play this type of game, like a quick hitter?
You know absolutely. If it is,
yeah. I don't know if it is or not. I'm saying more in like concept than if it's actually supported or not.
So this community is saying like, it says it's playable, but they can't get it to work right now. So
yeah, that's like the thing. Like
that's a lot
like
of
Steam
them
Deck verified, and there's like playable or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know. I've been really thinking about the Steam Deck again. because I'm sitting like, man, I really want to play Cyberpunk right now, but I don't want to like go downstairs and sequester myself from my family and go play it. And then, if I just had a little Steam Deck here and I could throw some headphones in and play, for like 30 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
or something else. I don't know. I've been thinking about that a little harder lately.
So I've been playing Vampire Survivors. I've been playing Rogue Legacy. And I've been playing... Oh my gosh, what else have I been playing? Hold on.
I forgot something too.
Okay, I have to open up my Steam because I am completely blanking on what else I've been playing. Oh, I've been playing... Oh, it's a Game Pass game. There's something on Game Pass I've been playing. Anyway, I've been using my Backbone controller.
Okay.
And so I'm using Steam Link, which is an app on iOS. And my computer here that we are podcasting on right now, where I sit, is downstairs. Open door, but it is downstairs. Wi-Fi is going through the wall. And it works pretty well.
Okay.
Surprisingly, like better. I'm not throwing Cyberpunk at it, but I also don't know like how much that really matters. Because if my computer's running it, I'm just streaming the bits to me anyway. So
right.
But yeah, I've been playing Rogue Legacy, and it's fine. It hitches every now and then, and that's kind of annoying. But for the most part, it's been doing okay. The Backbone controller is not the best controller, though. I will say that.
Yeah, it's just got me thinking about it again. Like Steam Deck just seems like a cool device.
I think it was PC Gamer was just like, "What would you like to see out of a Steam Deck 2?" And most of the comments were like, "I want to see my Steam Deck 1." Stop at like, they're 5 years away, probably more than that, on a Steam Deck 2. Like, I guess people are saying it gets loud.
I think I've just been like converted to this PC thing now. Like I can't go back.
No.
Like, I can't go back to just having an Xbox.
So
I can't do it.
The nice TV is downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
The $400 Vizio TV is on the Xbox. And my wife was just like, "Do you ever want to like upgrade that TV for your Xbox?" And I'm just like, "Nah." It's like, I don't play my Xbox. I only play this thing, and if I'm not playing on it, I'm streaming it to my phone or something. So
no, I've been thinking really hard about upgrading this PC.
Can you upgrade it? Do you have like a... Can you shove it?
No, I'd have to get a new power supply. I'd have to get a new graphics card. Like it would be a...
Would the chassis hold something bigger?
I don't think so. It's pretty small.
You'd have to get a whole new computer. Who's going to inherit that?
I'd probably sell it to somebody at work.
Oh, okay.
I think I can get like $800-900 out of it.
Oh yeah,
pretty easily.
It's not that old.
So and subsidize it like a nice like 3080 rig. What is killing me about this? I know. Okay, I know.
Let me get you into board games.
Yeah. Please do. Like Cyberpunk, man. Like, if I turn the ray tracing on, and I have DLSS on, like, I can only run that game at about 45 frames a second.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched you stream it from your PC, which has a 3070, 3080,
3070
Ti.
Ti, yeah.
Fuck, yeah. That looked awesome.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I can't get that out of my head. And I'm thinking about Starfield.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if I launch that game and I can't run that game, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So, yeah. yeah. About every day, I'm on a like website building a PC and going slowly, like exposing myself to it, like people with like allergic reactions that want to get rid of allergic reactions that just keep poking themselves with it. I'm just doing that with a potentially $2,600 PC.
So I felt confident because you were sending me the screenshots of your shopping cart. You're like, I'm buying this, and I'm like, yes, that's a 3060 Ti is a great option. It's a great introduction.
It is a great card.
But
It's a great little
man,
that thing. I just went to Costco this last weekend. That computer's $1,200 now.
Okay.
Perfect starter PC. It's a great PC. Nothing wrong with this PC. This is purely me having a
You're
problem.
just in it now.
Yep.
You've got a little taste, and now you're like,
I don't need this. Okay. I don't need it.
Right.
But I want it to be so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say, even when I see performance dip on my computer, I'm just like, you fucker. You were so expensive.
I mean, a lot of that stuff, like Cyberpunk, a lot of Cyberpunk is like that game is just not optimized very well. It's not necessarily my PC's fault, but I know it could be better. If I had a better card and a better just PC.
And I'm a cheap ass, and PC Game Pass is not the greatest. Those games are definitely not optimized. I will say, anytime I pay money for a game on Steam, it's always the better decision.
Yes, for sure.
That drives me crazy because I love Game Pass so much, and I recommend it to everyone.
Yeah.
But man, it runs like shit on PC, and most games like just have a hard time with it.
Yep.
I just remember when you were like, yeah, I bought Halo on Steam, and I'm like, you have Game Pass. Why the fuck would you? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to mess. Yeah, I don't want to.
I get it.
Yeah, it's a game I'm going to play a lot of. Yeah, for sure. So I did forget a game that I played.
Okay.
So again, I don't know what led me to this, but I decided it was time for my 7-year-old to learn how to like use a mouse.
Mm-hmm.
My kids like don't have computers. Like daddy's computer is this big crazy like rig thing.
Black box.
Yeah, they're not really interested in it.
Sure.
Like they don't come over to my computer and like want to play with it. Like it might as well be like a drill or a sawzall or something, But like I like and like if you're not a parent and don't have a kid in school, everything's touchscreen. Everything's either on an iPad or on a Chromebook with a touchscreen and a shitty trackpad. Or
those so bad.
I don't think they use mice a lot. And so I thought, I need to get her kind of introduced to this because they've like kind of told us at school, like, hey, they're going to be using computers in like 2nd and 3rd grade. Like you need to get them kind of comfortable with it a little bit.
Are you charging your Chromebook? That is a sentence spoken in this house every night.
Yep. Did you charge your Chromebook? Yep. Nope. Yep. I'm with you. Yep. So I decided, I'm like, okay, how do I teach my 7-year-old how to use a mouse? Okay, a video game. Okay, what's a good video game to do that? And I'm looking through Steam, and I find actually I saw this on YouTube through Digital Foundry. There's a game called Lego Builder's Journey.
Oh, okay.
And it is the reason why it was on Digital Foundry is because it has like crazy
ray
good
tracing.
graphics.
Ray tracing,
yeah,
right?
And really, really good ray tracing.
Yeah.
And all it is like these little like, I don't know, like 20 block by 20 block, like little Lego islands that like tell this story, and you use the mouse to pick up blocks and like build Lego. And then like did you ever play Monument Valley on the iPhone?
No.
It's a lot like that game where you're like solving a puzzle to get like a person from one spot to another, but using Lego to like solve this puzzle and like build bridges and like do light problem solving, basically to kind of move this little Lego person, to the end. You know, nothing revolutionary from a gameplay perspective. The
Sure.
revolutionary part of it is it looks really good. So I kind of set my daughter down, like, all right, here's left click, here's right click. The game did a really good job of like explaining it.
Mm-hmm.
And she's old enough she can kind of read, and she's like, okay, left click picks them up, and then if I click and hold, it puts it down, and then I can rotate them, and you can rotate the world around, because it's in 3D. And she's just sitting there, and she's picking it up, and I kind of had like, she's not really like been into video games a lot. Like we play Sonic together, but she's definitely not like your son or your kids. I think your kids have like shown much more of an interest into it than mine have yet. And I just had this little like dad moment where she's like sitting at my computer and she's just sitting there clicking away playing this game, and I'm like, yeah.
You're like, kid, look at this. Doom Eternal.
Yeah.
Have you heard of this?
No
This
shit.
shit's crazy.
Yeah. It's all right. You good with Lego? All right, let's talk about the battle rifle. Okay. Yeah. And like, and she's she's in first grade, so she's getting exposed to like games and like like that culture, like kid culture now a lot more that she's in school.
How many times has she uttered the word Roblox?
Michael, I've been holding out. I've been holding out. Every week she comes home and she's like, Dad, I want to buy a Roblox. Yeah. And I'm just like, I can't do it. Like, I'm trying to help you.
Let me talk to you about Adopt Me.
You told me about this. You told me your daughter's like a Mexican cartel.
Oh,
like,
yes,
like,
yes.
Yeah. But like today she brought home like like a birthday invitation from like one of the boys in her first grade class, and it was like literally an Xbox controller was the invitation. So she's like, oh, And then the other day she was drawing something and she drew like a Nintendo Switch.
Oh, wow.
She's kind of getting there, but yeah, I did play Lego Builder's Journey. That's a cool little game. I think they just launched like a creative mode where you can just like go fucking wild. There's all sorts of Lego in there.
I think that's on Apple Arcade.
It might be. It might be.
I pay for Apple Arcade, and I'll get in there and just like poke in there, and I never see anything. Like, I swear, we had this conversation last year.
Yeah, we
where
do.
It's just it's the same.
Yep.
You just see all those classic games.
Flappy Bird.
It's all that. Angry Birds and fucking Tiny Tower, Tiny Wings, and
Yep, Tiny Wings.
It's all that shit.
Subway Surfers, whatever that thing's called.
And it's still that. Yeah. It's still all that, and it's always the top downloads.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that Lego game is on there. I think that it started on Apple Arcade, and then it came.
That would make sense. PC. Yeah, it would work pretty well on there. Yeah, man, that game got the old computers fans turning. Let me tell you.
Really?
With that ray tracing on. Yeah,
it was like,
it was like, yeah, we're going. Yeah.
What other games do you think that she would show interest in?
Probably licensed games. Like there's a Peppa Pig game on the Switch that I thought about like introducing to her and my 4-year-old. She's interested in Sonic, but Sonic is just fucking hard. There's not like a kid-friendly Sonic game.
What about like the Sonic racing games?
She does like Mario Kart. I could probably do that.
I've heard that like those Sonic they're surprisingly well put together.
Right.
But if you, but I also get that if she's already playing Mario Kart.
Sonic? Did we talk about that? Did you?
No, my kids went and seen it. That's what we talked about. Right.
Yeah, you got ghosted. Okay. Yeah. That's a good movie.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Good movie.
Yeah, I always was curious, like, what is the game to introduce kids to games? And
I don't know.
I have pictures of my son, 2 years old, playing NBA Jam. That was a pretty good one. I had I had a I had a Raspberry Pi, and it had
Yeah.
one of those SNES emulators on there.
Mm-hmm.
We had it hooked up to the TV, and it was just like, what can a 2-year-old figure out? Oh, he can
Yeah,
run and shoot a basketball.
I bought one of those little mini NESs, that just plugs in the TV and it's got the
Oh yeah.
controllers attached to it. They don't give a fuck about that thing.
No. Do
Yeah,
you?
no, not really. It was more of a.
Yeah.
I was walking through Meyer and there it was. I was
Right.
like, oh, that's a thing I could have. Yeah.
I always think of like I would love to go back and play those things, but I never do. We have Nintendo Online, and they
Mhm.
release all their dumb shit all the time. I never spend more than 5 minutes. Like A Link to the Past, like arguably one of the greatest games of all time, sits on there. No interest in going back and playing that. There's too
Yeah.
much new shit that I
Yeah.
want to play.
I
So.
thought about Kirby because I've heard people say that Kirby's pretty easy. You'd said that, but
The new
maybe
one,
getting her started on Kirby. Yeah.
it's got a kid-friendly mode. And then you can come in like dad and play this little Waddle Dee character that has a staff.
Okay.
So you all could play it together. And you could like half Joy-Con it, which that never feels good. But we bought these little plastic things to set it into because we were doing
the
like
little middle piece. Yeah.
we were doing like full blown like Mario Party nights and stuff, and we just holding those little Joy-Cons for like an extended period of time just sucks, man.
Yeah, it does. Yep.
So we got these, like my wife found these like on Amazon. It was like $20 for 4 of them, where you just seed the controller into it, and then you get triggers, and it's got grips on it. They're just like little 3D printed things, but it was just enough to feel like I'm holding like a little controller.
Right.
Right. But yeah, we played a good bit of Kirby like that, and it worked out fine. So.
Okay. Maybe I'll try that. Maybe I'll try that out.
Yeah, Kirby's fun. Anything else?
Nope.
All right,
Nope,
I think that's
good.
it for me too. Thank you all so much for watching tonight, or whenever you wanted to watch or listen to this. If you want to check out any of our past shows, you can find that at bitpunch.tech. And if you want, you can send us an email at emails@bitpunch.tech. You can follow us on Twitch at BitPunch. You can follow us on Twitter at BitPunch. You can check our archive streams on our YouTube channel at /user/BitPunch. Then you can check out our newsletter at bitpunch.substack.com. All of these links can be found on our website at bitpunch.tech. That is going to do it for us tonight. We're going to start streaming a new game. So we finished Norco. We'll figure out what that is. I do want to show you Dorfromantik. So maybe if we play Sunday, we just do like a grab bag. We haven't done a grab bag in a while. Maybe I'll bring a couple of these random games I've been playing, and Dorfromantik will be one of them. That one's really good. So we're still trying to figure out what our next full playthrough is. So
yeah, we got some ideas.
We'll get to that, but we will be back in a couple weeks. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you.
And y'all have a good night. See ya.
Bye.